Okay, let's go for it. Um, I think everybody had the same feeling of like having to find new koach for the new week. So it's good that we're all connecting together, and hopefully we can give each other chizuk as we have been. We are moving steadily, almost done with the Shirei HaMaalot, going onwards and upwards, and then we can think about like what is the next set we want to do. There's different sets we can see, whether it's the shir shel yom that we say. There's the Tehillim sets that are in Psukei de Zimra. So there's a lot of different things, and I think that's the way we'll please God conquer the whole of Tehillim, and hopefully we can continue doing that in the way we do it. Hashem should finish this war very quickly and swiftly in our favor. We shouldn't take the whole book of Tehillim. We said we were giving him till the middle of Cheshvan, which is coming close. So that's where we're at. Okay, so we're doing Tehillim 131. It's a short one to give us enough to keep focus for the week, but not to get too overwhelmed. It's Kuf Lamed Aleph, and we'll see that it's a nice continuation from Kuf Lamed. One of the shorter ones. It's also written here. This one is Le David. Most of them start from after Shirei HaMaalot or Shirei HaMaalot. Then David HaMelech already gets into it. But here our warrior poet David HaMelech that we're keeping in focus as we learn these Tehillim now is according to the Mefarshim also talking about himself. So he's talking about himself over here and reflecting essentially on a sense of like humility that he learns, that he's obviously tremendously powerful and he's tremendously successful and he's eloquent and he's able to achieve in all these different aspects of life, and being able to lead the nation, being able to reflect and be poetic, but also be able to be an absolute warrior. Over here we see that he expresses absolute humility. So I think there's different emotions that we have kavanah for. There's different limbs we've seen, different times. This over here we'll see. We'll see is a big focus on humility and subjugation and straying from a level of haughtiness and thinking of himself too highly. So we'll go straight into it. Shirei HaMaalot LeDavid, Adonai lo gava libi velo ramu einai velo hilachti bigdolot v'niflaot mimeni. So David HaMelech, who is this great, tremendous leader, is reflecting on his own fallibility. And I think there's an interesting progression here where we saw, if we look at even just Shirei HaMaalot, we were looking at the one before. The focus over here in terms of what parts of the body was our voice, right? Like sort of our kol Yaakov, our pure voice that was calling out over here. There's also ends off with nafshi, right? Nafshi Lashem Yishomrim Laboker. So there was this like purity that our voice turns to Hashem's ear. Over here, there's like we see something different, but I think very much a continuation. We see the movement from libi, logava libi, so my heart was not haughty. That's stage one. Velo ramu einai, so like moving outward from the depths of the heart towards the eye, which is not yet moving, but it's outward focused. It's not having an impact in the world yet, but it's still starting to assess and understand the world. Velo ramu einai, from like the planning perspective, from a seeing space. So my eyes were not haughty. Velo hilachti bigdolot v'niflaot mimeni, and then from into like an active space of walking, of moving. I did not exercise or not move myself in things too great or in things too wonderful for me. So David HaMelech is sort of like approaching with a gradual at a gradual pace and with humility. I think it's relevant to what we're seeing now with the army in a sense, or with the nation rather. That expression of starting to get the job done is not in like a crazy arrogant, we're coming in and we just bulldozing the whole place. No, there's a sense of time that was taken to hopefully internalize, to not be overly arrogant in our response, but be unfortunately humbled by what we experienced and what we endured, and there's a sense of like, okay, now things are starting to move in a gradual way. Things, ground is starting to be conquered. Things are starting to be achieved, but it's not in a way of just diving in and thinking that we've got all the power in the world, and we've even got Hashem behind us, and it's a holy war, and therefore nothing will come to us. No, there's definitely an aspect of humility and of process, and of going in gradually. And please God, have kavanah for the gradual process over here. Should protect the gradual process of our troops and of our people as we make those moves forward. Here he talks about a different relationship to Hashem, whereas before it was cholei and nafshi, my voice and my soul, towards Hashem, listening, his attentive listening ear. Here it's towards Hashem as a child, coming from a humble place, who's weaned off his mother. So it's like from the child to Hashem's breast, so to speak. Im lo shiviti v'domanti nafshi k'gamul alai imo k'gamul alai nafshi. So we're seeing Hashem as a loving mother who has this direct connection of breastfeeding. But now we as a people, David HaMelech as a warrior is able to say, wow, I've got the strength from my mother, I've got the strength from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's enough for me to be independent. There's but still reflect on where he got that strength from, right? So we've got the strength, we're able to now exercise our own power, but it's with a pure acknowledgement of where it came from. So we're never losing sight of that. And we spoke about that before in the previous Mizmorim, before Kuf Lamed, where we see where we're building all these aspects of our lives, but ensuring that as we build our homes, as we build the city, as we stand around, sit around the table with our family, and as our children go forth, there's this infusion of Yirat Shamayim all the time. So that could perhaps be the same idea of the child getting its strength, but at the same time being infused all the time with it coming from Hashem. Whoops. Okay. 1 second. I saw my son trying to call me. Let me just message him. Okay, he's at school safely. Okay. Okay, so that we saw over there. So there's the Mepharshim over here say there's like, is it talking about a baby who's been weaned from its mother completely, or is it that it's just got enough strength to now feel independent, but soon it'll be hungry again and then cry for its mother? So there's these two aspects of that dependency, whether it's a dependency that then repeats on itself, or whether it's like the end of that phase, and now we can stand on our own 2 feet. I think for us, reflect on the fact that we need that dependency all the time. We're strong, we can go out and be strong, but then again, never forget that when we get infused with power, it should be resourced on the physical level, but also resourced on the spiritual level. And then this beautiful aspect here where David HaMelech, from talking about himself and reflecting on himself in the first 2 parts, and saying, as a leader, I'm not arrogant. I'm not arrogant internally. I'm not arrogant externally. And when I take my movements out, I'm sensitive to that. Then he says, and where do I get my strength? Even when I do go out there, it's a strength that is continually connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's where it comes from. That's that aspect. But then it moves towards outward, where he says, now that I've been able to reflect on my own vulnerability and my own source of strength, now I can turn to the whole of Am Yisrael and say, you can be strong like this too. You can have that same power. And therefore he says, "O Israel," turning to Am Yisrael, hope in Hashem from this time forth and forever. There's some feedback coming through. I think we're okay at this stage, but that's the movement of self-reflection towards now saying, I've done my internal work, and now I can turn to all of Am Yisrael and say, do the same thing. Yachel Yisrael Adonai, have your faith in Hashem as the gracious, kind creator of the world, Yud Hei Vav Hei, Ma'atavi Adolam, in this moment and forever. So I think that's the kavanah over here. How is it connected to the one before? We saw it within terms of like the movement from let's say from the cholei nafshi to the ears, and now we've got the heart and the eyes and the looking out. But I think more so, we said that this was like, before we were looking at very tangible things in the previous Mizmorim, this Mizmor now focuses on a vulnerable man standing before his creator and saying, please don't judge me based on all my sins. Like, if you judge me based on my sins and my spiritual deservedness and my righteousness, I'm not going to stand before you, and who can stand before you? And then that becomes expressed deep over here, where there's like an absolute humility, and say, I'm not going to just expect you to forgive me, blanket, but rather I do realize that, that I'm humble, that my strength does not come from me, that I'm not haughty, that I do things in a considered and gradual way. I'm not going to try. We had, I think, the Mefarshim over here, like in Lokavali Beseter, right? Like when I'm learning Torah Tanistar, some of the Mefarshim say, I'm not going to think that I'm a great, tremendous Kabbalist that can now change the world on the upper spheres. The Radak says over here, and don't think that I have this tremendous power to be able to, conquer the hearts of Torah, even the things that are in Galui, that are revealed, like all these different aspects, whether it's spiritual or physical. David HaMelech is coming with like a true humility as an outgrowth of realizing that he's not righteous previously. So there we know this pasuk as well. It's from previous Tehillim. And that's the hope that we should have, that when we look at our leaders, when we look at our warriors, that they have an internal sense of humility. They realize where their strength comes from, but then they stand on their own 2 feet and say, we've gone through this process, we've understood where we've made mistakes, we understand where we're not powerful, but we do realize that we are still powerful. We still get our connection from Hashem as direct as a baby suckling from its mother. So too, therefore, all of you, Am Yisrael, should be proud, and you should also look to Hashem and get that same strength, and that should hold us powerfully in this moment and in future moments. A quick short one to get some plugged in strength for the rest of the week. So let's say it together, line by line. Control D or press your microphone to unmute. Shirei HaMaalot LeDavid, Adonai lo gava libi velo ramu einai, velo hilachti bigdolot u'niflaot mimeni.
Shirei HaMaalot LeDavid, Adonai gava libi velo ramu einai.
I'll say one more thing on this line. There's this very rare piece of trop over here, which is the shalshelet that you see. It's like you see it most famously by Yosef with Potiphar, like when he's concerned, and it's like this very, very powerful note of like of hesitation, of awe, of consternation. So I think that it's that same thing that we're reflecting on here. That before that, yes, he's felt it in his heart, he's seen it with his eyes, but as he's taking this movement, like this active movement forward, there's like tremendous trepidation and consideration and kavanah. So that's for v'lo hilachti bigdolot u'niflaot mimeni. Like I'm taking these steps, I'm moving forward, but I'm doing it with trepidation and acknowledgement. Okay, pasuk bet. Imloshi, let's get the Tinok Shel Beit Rabban over here. Thank you for their zchut. Imloshi, and that's there. You got there talking about children drinking from mothers. Imloshi biti v'domamti nafshi k'gamul alei imo k'gamul alei nafshi.
Imloshi biti v'domamti nafshi k'gamul alei imo k'gamul alei nafshi.
יחל ישראל אל אדוני מעתה ויד עולם.
יחל ישראל אל אדוני מעתה.
Okay, let's go on to the Mishaberachs. Michael, the up first.
משברח אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ואנשי כוחות הביטחון העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, מן הים הגדול ועד לבוא הערבה ובכל מקום שהם היבשה באוויר ובים, ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו נגפים לפניהם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה. מכל נגע ומחלה. וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, ירבה שונאינו ותחתיהם ותרפם בחטא הישועה ותרד ניצחון, יקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם ונאמר אמן.
Amen. Okay.
Can you just mute everyone because there's a sort of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's sorted.
Okay. Mishmar Hamatan Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Yosef Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarach Mishmar Ben Tzorek and Reitz Avakna Shel shvuyey ובתוכם דניאל שימון שרון ואת כל אחינו והנתונים בצרה בשביה בעבור שכל הקהל הקדוש הזה מתפלל בעבורם ולומד בעבורם הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם ויוציא מחושך וצמא ואת מושותיהם ינתק ומצוקותיהם יושיע משיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם יודו לאדוני חסדו ונפלאותיו לבני אדם ויקוים במקרא שכתוב ופדויי אדוני ישובון ועל ציון וריניו שמחת עולם על ראשם ששון שמחה ישיגו ונשאו יגון ונחם ונאמר אמן. So before we say Achenu, we should have kavanah that we saw in this Tehillim of this tremendous, powerful but gradual, steady and humble move forward that we as a nation are expressing in claiming our safe independence back, and in all the soldiers that are manifest that they should have that same bracha v'atzlacha. Let's say together, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanatunim b'tzara v'shivya, haomdim ben bayam v'yabasha, hamakom yirachem aleim, yotziem mitzar lirvacha, umafel aleora, shibud legula, ashta v'agala b'zman karib. Amen. Okay, thanks everybody. Anybody got anything they want to share?
Actually, I was thinking about the two, how they coincided. And the last year that we did was really David HaMelech pleading for Hashem to please listen and to help and to be there for him. And in this one, it's then saying, you know what, but I'm also very humble. I'm like a kli rik, so I can accept and take in all these blessings that you'll be giving me, please God, and being able to move forward and doing the battle that I need to do. And actually, I kind of see it. I got a very interesting WhatsApp this morning, and it was showing the soldiers before they went into Gaza, and they were doing, Ana Hashem Mashiach, and that was part of the entire unit doing this, Hatzlichana, knowing again that yes, we're ready, we've trained, we have it, but we need you in order to get to where we need to be. So we're this kli rik, we're trying to be as humble as possible, and please help us.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll tell you something even on top of that is the Ana Hashem Moshiana and Ana Hashem Matzlichana. There's a difference between what we do with Halulavim and Etrogim. Right, in Ana Hashem Moshiana we move the Etrog and we say Hashem, save us, and we're very active in it. But then when it comes to absolute hatzlacha, we just stand still. We hold the lulav next to us and we say, like, there's movement that we can do, and then there's humility that we need you to help us to do it. So there's this like vehilachti with the shalshelet of acknowledging what movement we're responsible for, what movement Hashem helps us with, and that it all comes together and assures our hatzlacha. So a great reference.
Because it also stilled his soul. He's saying, I had to, still my soul. I had to become non-movement just to be able to accept that. So it goes with what we just said.
Very good, very good. Okay, Shvach, thanks very much, and very much appreciated when you share. So we should all take chizuk, do what we need to do this week. We got to be strong. We don't have a choice. And as David HaMelech says, when you're feeling weak, that's part of being strong. But then you get strong again, and together we help each other and we strengthen each other. And we should just see much better days every day for Am Yisrael. And thank you to the Goodman children for sponsoring the cuteness and goodness and sweetness on the share today.
Keeping me sane.
Bye. Thanks everybody. All the best. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you.
Stay safe.